What's up, guys? We've got it's a 99 Foreman 450 ES electric shift. Electric shift problems, of course. Put the new gear change switch in, and we're still waiting on the shift motor and the angle sensor. All three were bad, so should have them in probably tomorrow, hopefully anyways. Otherwise it'll probably be Monday. I think I did get Saturday delivery on it though, so that would be nice. But when we got up in the air the other day, we noticed this. Good old wheel bearing. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're going to put a set of Pivot Works front wheel bearings in this beast. Get that done. And we've got a little diagnosing to do on one of the OG YFZs. You guys have seen a couple videos. One we did a timing job on. The clutch cable somehow managed to touch the starter post on the starter, the positive post on the starter, and from there it kind of wiped out some electrical. It was right there at the dunes. You got a ton of riding in it. It ended up being a crank. That's why it was having a hell of a time starting. The crank went out. It was an OEM crank, tons of hours on it. But anyways, put a new crank in it, got it running great. You can see it back here in the background. This is it. And there's a Raptor 660. That's in for a head gasket job. But we should be able to get this bearing done. I'll do a time lapse on it most likely. And if there's anything kind of weird, I'll talk about it, just kind of pinpoint some stuff. But probably get this done and then get the YFZ apart so we can see what's going on with it. We've also got the 12 KTM 250 and a Husky 15 250. The Husky's a full motor build. The KTM's getting cam journals. Anyways, here's the crank out of that Husky. As you can see, she's a little bit bent. Was a hydrolock jobby. He spun tire going into a creek bed and laid it over and sucked in a bunch of water. When I pulled the drain plug, a bunch of water came out, then a lot of oil, and then as we tore the motor down, more oil, more water. It was kind of a nightmare. We got most of it out, just draining it, and then of course, clean the whole cases out, make sure everything was good. All new transmission bearings, crank bearings, everything. Every bearing is replaced just to be safe. All new seals. Still waiting on the crank, cylinder, and piston. Should have them in midweek next week. So today's Friday, so we should have everything for it hopefully within a week, and get after it on that. Anyways, I'm gonna set this up for time lapse. We'll get started on the wheel bearing on that Honda. New bearings in. Here's part of the old one. New seals, new bearing. Getting ready to put the front end back together. Shouldn't take too long. Pretty easy, really. I'm gonna resurface the brakes and everything while I got it apart. Pretty rough. There's part of what's going on. This was, like I said, it was the transmission electric shift model. So it had a gear shift. I think it's called the not relay, but gear shift change assembly or something like that. So basically that's what's telling the computer what gear it's in. And on these 99 and I believe it's the 01 models, they have on their shift drum or shift star, they've only got provisions for reverse, neutral, first and fifth. So when you're in second, third, and fourth, the computer's actually being able to tell you what gear it's in by RPM and I believe mile per hour. So it's kind of a weird deal. Like I believe the O2s and up, they're not like that. They can tell all the gears, and those machines can actually troubleshoot themselves. This one can't. So 20 plus pages of Honda OEM troubleshooting, which was not really hard. They do a really good job in their manuals, unlike KTM and Husky over here, who have about the worst manuals I've ever seen. But anyway, get ready to put it back together, get this wheel bearing and all that stuff on. Axle looks good. Everything else looks fine. We're gonna do a shifter motor tomorrow and angle sensor. Like I said, we'll probably film that, and hopefully it's good to go at that point. Everything else checked out fine. And the crazy thing is, shifter motor was working grand for a while through the troubleshooting procedure, and now it doesn't work worth a damn. I retested it and it's shot. So we even took it apart, cleaned it, re-greased everything like the manual says, put it all back together, and it's even worse than it was. So new shifter motor and angle sensor, because they come as a combo. I think you can buy them separately, but if we're gonna do one, since the angle sensor attached to the shifter motor, might as well just do both. It's cheap for the angle sensor, and that does give these a lot of issues, so just go ahead and give them a new one. We got a rat's nest under here. Somebody likes using, looks like extension cord to wire some stuff up. I think that was for like a rear spreader or something. You kind of see it hanging there. So we're gonna delete all that, clean that up. The dang switch for it here was sticking out about where your knee would be. So that's a terrible spot. The other thing we're gonna do, just for safety purposes, and I probably won't charge them anything extra, this winch is mounted terribly. It's hanging off the front, and as you can see, there would be the winch mount plate. Should be inside the bumper somewhere. Here's the bolts, looking absolutely scary. You can see the oval there where the winch cable should run through. I'm gonna fix that up for him, clean this thing up a little bit, get it all buttoned up. Should be good to go after tomorrow. Get this front wheel bearing and all that stuff done tonight, and then, like I said, we're gonna start on this YFZ. It, like I said, it's shorted out. The button, we're not getting any power to the relay, which doesn't allow any power to the start button. It does have a new relay and solenoid on it. He had always had extras of those, and they take them on the dune strips and whatnot with them. So anyways, I'm gonna get back after it. A little shot of the GTO. I will insert a clip now of the cam we did. Finish up front suspension. Some parts that are no longer made. Well, I'll do a little video on it later when my buddy can talk about it some. But it's parts that were no longer made that we needed for the front shot or front struts. Finally, we were able to find them out of Australia. Thank goodness Holden still had them, I guess, being sold somewhere over there. So we found them. But anyways, gonna get this front end back on. Do a little time lapse of it so you guys see going back together. And then we will start on Mr. YFZ over there. Well, I messed up. Didn't end up filming the YFZ I talked about in this video. This was actually, this whole video was probably 3-4 weeks ago. So I'm getting a little bit behind on getting my videos edited and posted and whatnot. So I'm going to do a better job of that. In this video, we talked about the Foreman. It's done, gone. They got a shift change motor, shift motor, or shift change assembly, shift motor, and an angle sensor. All three of those corrected the shifting issue. Didn't find anything weird in the electrical or nothing like that in the harness itself. So everything in that's done. It's gone. The KTM that I talked about that needed the cam journals replaced in the 12 model and possibly even previous years. I'm not positive, but I know in the 12 model for sure of the KTM SXF 250, it has a replaceable cam journal. So basically where your cam's right, they're completely replaceable, which I think is cool. I wish more manufacturers would do that, just simply because I know, coming more from the quad background of things, I notice a lot of YFZs, LTR 450s, KFX 450s, Z400, KFX 400s will come in with a lot of bad cam journals, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Sometimes you can get lucky and have a ream specifically machined to clean those journals out, but being they're line board from the factory, it's very hard to repair them once they're damaged. There's just a lot of math going on in there, you know, to get it to the right tolerances so that your cam is basically running on the correct oil plane bearing, or oil bearing, is what they would call that. So anyways, that KTM's done and gone. The Husky with the bent crank, done and gone. What else was in there? There's a Raptor I talked about for a split second. Head gasket, that's done and gone. Basically everything that was in that video is fixed, gone, out the door, all good to go. Well, the other thing I need to hit on is I got a couple more videos that are going to come out after this one, and they're also kind of behind. So we will get a video up here hopefully in this coming week that is current. Right now we just finished up a 400EX. We got a CRF 450 we're almost done with, a CR85 we're working on, and then we have two TRX 450R race motors for our cross-country racers this year. One's an 08 and the other one's an 04 or 05. So I do have one video of me tearing down the 08. It's from a while back, but I'll probably upload it as well. It's kind of hit and miss on what I was doing. I kind of did a little bit of time lapsing and more talking than anything. But we'll get some more videos coming. I know it's, you know, getting a few views, which is cool. So hopefully we can start getting some more, maybe get some subscribers going. But anyways, always check out our Facebook page, Moto Lab Racing LLC. Instagram is at Moto Lab Racing, and so is Snapchat at Moto Lab Racing. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Feel free to hit me up on all those platforms. We have t-shirts and stuff like that. We're actually going to have a website before long, so we have t-shirts, hats, stuff like that will be available. Trying to work with somebody to make us like key tags. Basically I kind of want those just more for the shop for customers, so but we will sell them if there's interest in them. But anywho, if you need anything, feel free to give us a shot. Anyways, have a good night, and there'll be some more videos coming.